Hey Aries, welcome to Miss Leo's Tarot. I hope you're doing well today. We're going to be doing a spread on the person that is currently on your mind, what their current thoughts about you, what they secretly want from you, what's blocking the connection. All right, so this is going to be your December love reading about, like I said, the person that is on your mind, all right? So let's get into it, Aries. Let's see. What are they thinking and feeling about you right now? What's blocking the connection? Give me 3 more shuffles, and then we will get started. Okay, let's get right into it. Aries. Okay, so what is the person on your mind? What is their current energy towards you right now? What are they feeling right now? We have the 4 of Wands. We have the King of Wands, and we have the Emperor in reverse with homebody energy. Okay, Aries, so, here with the 4 of Wands energy, this is, telling me that your person absolutely feels a deep, commitment type of energy here with the 4 of Wands. They feel like you're somebody they could, end up moving in with, or, being in a long-term relationship with you. All right, so it could be marriage, it could be moving in together, it could be, any form of commitment. So that's how they feel. But they also feel with the King of Wands energy, a lot of attraction to you. They still feel that spark, towards you. They still feel drawn in by your energy. They want to take action. The King of Wands is all about taking action, being a bold leader, going after what you want kind of thing. But, they do fantasize about, reaching out or showing up in your orbit very boldly, okay? But we have the Emperor reversed here as well. So that's telling me that your person really doesn't feel good enough for you. There's a fear of, yes, I want, to have this committed relationship with Aries, but, I just don't feel in my power. I don't feel really worthy of this connection, or I don't feel like I could measure up. It's kind of like imposter syndrome. They feel ungrounded, unstable, and even though they want this with you, Aries, I feel like they don't really feel ready for this commitment, simply because they just don't feel like they're in a place right now where they could be good enough for you to have that committed relationship. So I feel like here with the homebody card, your person is absolutely like, stepping back. Perhaps you're in like, a situation where you haven't talked to this person in a while, or, maybe they're the one that kind of disappeared or whatever. But I feel like whatever the case, they're pulling their energy back because they don't feel confident. So they're just kind of like trying to recalibrate their energy. They're trying to isolate. They're trying to like go in their shell, stick to their own routines, basically just sticking to their comfort zone. Okay, until they can feel more confident and everything to come towards you in this King of Wands energy, this confident energy that they know that you deserve. Okay, Aries, let's move on and go into what are their secret thoughts about you right now. This is what they're not saying, but they are thinking. All right, so let's get these out of the way. So we have the Star. So that's all about healing, renewal, the Hermit mode, going into Hermit energy, withdrawing. Oh, very intuitive here with the High Priestess energy. And we have understanding. So Aries, we have the Star energy. So this is telling me that secretly they see you as somebody rare. This is, the Star energy, we have like the 1 star here. So I feel like your person is feeling like they're kind of like putting you up on a pedestal, if that makes sense. They think very highly of you. Okay, so they see you as somebody that's very healing, someone that's very magnetic. I feel like, you make them believe there could actually be something good, waiting for them in love. I feel like this person, has had a lot of, past negative experiences perhaps in love. And when they've met you, you make them feel like, you just get them, you understand them, because we have the high priestess energy here as well. So your person is feeling like you get them on a very deep intuitive level that, they just can't really shake. It's like this telepathic psychic connection that, they feel very deeply when they're with you. And I feel like even when they're not with you, there's like this, psychic link between you two that is still there. Perhaps maybe like they're seeing your name or you're seeing their name, or like weird synchronicities. That kind of ties into it as well. But I feel like at the core here, your person deeply feels like you are a person that really understands them a lot more than other people they've met in the past. Okay. And I feel like here with the Hermit energy, they think about you a lot, Aries, in private. And I feel like, they think about you most, when it's quiet, like maybe at night, or, when things aren't really competing for their attention. They can just kind of go within, and that's when you pop up the most in their mind. I feel like your person withdraws, it's not because they don't care. I'm feeling it's because they process their feelings very deeply and very privately. And I feel like they're kind of like in hermit mode right now, replaying, past conversations, moments with you in their head. And I feel like they're doing a lot of thinking, a lot of contemplating, like, do they fit into your life? Are they good enough for you? I feel like this is something that your person is kind of like ruminating on in their mind over and over, like how do you really feel about them? I feel like there's like this sense of uncertainty about that regarding this connection with you. Another message I'm getting here, Aries, is I feel like since there's such a deep psychic bond between you two, your person kind of feels a little bit scared because they feel like you see right through them. All right. So they can't really wear any type of mask with you because you deeply understand them in a way that they really haven't even told you about. So I feel like it kind of freaks them out in that way, that you see right through them, and, they can't really hide from this connection with you. And I feel like it makes them feel extremely vulnerable. And I feel like that's another thing that's kind of scaring them about this connection. All right, so let's move on to what their emotional conflict is right now towards you. What's blocking the connection? What is blocking them from coming towards you at this time? We have the Ace of Wands. We have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. And we have winter season. I'm done with the loneliness. I'm ready for someone who truly recognizes my worth. So Aries, with the Ace of Wands here, this is just continuing the same message as before. They absolutely feel that passionate spark with you, that, that chemistry, that sexual like chemistry. They're, like I said, they're very, as we saw with the King of Wands, they're very much attracted to you. All right. But I feel like with the Ace of Wands, it also shows a fear of acting on impulse. So they're afraid of starting something, they're afraid of starting something that they cannot follow through on. As we saw with the the Emperor in reverse. They don't have that confidence that, they can be what you deserve someone to be in the connection. Okay. They're deeply afraid that, they do want this connection with you, Aries, but they're afraid of, what if I mess this up? What if I'm not good enough? Okay. We have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So Aries, this is also telling me that they are afraid of wasting your time and their time as well, because I feel like there's a sense here that there's a lack of trust. Okay. There's a deep emotional block They've, invested in the past into people and relationships before that, it just didn't pay off. And that's kind of where this whole sense of wasting time is coming from. I feel like it is stemming from their past. All right. And I feel like, it left them feeling very discouraged, and now they're kind of in an energy where they don't want to repeat the same cycle with you. Even though deep down they know that you're different, there's still a part of them that says, I don't know, maybe, what if I'm wrong here? What if, this is all in my head? And their mind is also telling them, what if this connection goes nowhere with you? With you, what if I can't give Aries what they need? There's this sense of insecurity. All right. We also have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. All right. So this feels like someone who has held on to a lot of pain, a lot of past trauma. There's a lot of insecurity and emotional walls up. There's a lot of, your person here has a lot of emotional walls and their guard up. And, basically here with the winter season, it says that, I'm done with the loneliness. Your person is tired of being lonely. They know that they want this connection with you. Okay. They want to release the control. They want to be vulnerable with you. And I feel like your person wants to give more of themselves to this connection with you, but it's kind of saying if they open their heart, they're afraid that they might lose control. They might get hurt. They might, lose themselves in this connection like they did before in the past. And so that makes them kind of freeze instead of moving toward you. But I feel like, like I said here with the winter season, your person is definitely being triggered to kind of grow and evolve past these limiting fears that they have. I feel like this is kind of pushing them into realizing these things about this connection. I feel like, they really do feel they're tired of being alone, and I feel like there's a shift happening within them. It's happening slowly, but there is a shift happening. And I feel like this whole situation has kind of been the catalyst. It's kind of forcing them to realize, I need to move past my blocks and limiting beliefs so that I can have something truly wonderful with Aries. Because Aries really understands me deep down at my core more than other people have seen me in the past. All right, so let's move on and see how they see you. What is their perception of you right now? How do they see you currently? Okay. How do they see you currently? We have the Four of Pentacles again. We have the Seven of Wands, very guarded energy here. We have the Seven of Swords. And we have unfinished business. Okay. Unfinished business. I want another chance. Letting go of old habits to have a better future. Yep, this is just confirming, this is what they're moving past. The winter season. Yep, this is definitely something that's pushing them to grow here. So Aries, they see you as somebody that's, in an energy where you're protecting your heart right now. You're being cautious, and I feel like you pulled your energy way back and you're kind of like in self-protection mode. And they just can't really figure you out. They can't figure you out energetically because you're being very mysterious. You've pulled your energy back. You're not really saying anything. And it's leaving them feeling like, oh my God, what is Aries thinking? What are they doing? Because you're very, very much standing your ground right now. You're defending your boundaries. You have your walls up. You're in self-protection mode. You're no longer easy to access. You've stepped out of the energy of, chasing or, putting in effort. And you're just really protecting your own heart right now, Aries, and rightfully so. And so here with the Seven of Swords, they think, like I said, you're very hard to read. You're perhaps keeping things to yourself. I think your person is feeling like maybe you're quietly watching them from a distance. You're definitely not revealing how you feel. And so your energy right now, like I said, is a huge mystery. And they do feel a sense of unfinished business here. There's still that tie of, there's like a cord that hasn't been set, It hasn't been severed yet. So they still feel that, there's a lot of things that still need to be said between you two, and they just don't feel like the door is completely closed. All right, so what do they want with you? But obviously haven't said. So what do they want with you? We have the Ten of Pentacles as a long-term energy. We have the Justice energy. We have the Two of Wands. And we have rejected, a split, separation, or pause. Time is needed apart to reassess and regain clarity. So with the Ten of Pentacles energy, they absolutely see long-term stability with you. They want to share a life. They want to build, a long-term committed relationship with you. Whether they admit it or not, that is what they secretly want. All right, Justice energy. This is all about making things right. Balancing the scales, putting in effort. They want to correct their behavior. They know that they haven't, put in their all. And so I feel like, they want to give you honesty, finally. They want to give you clarity. They want to give you the fairness that, you've deserved all along. And so I feel like this person wants to finally do right by you. All right, with the Two of Wands energy, this is about making plans. This is about considering the future. And I feel like it's not a matter of, do I want this with Aries? It's, yes, I want this, but how am I going to do it type of energy? If I came back, what would this look like long term? That kind of energy. So I feel like your person is kind of quietly planning behind the scenes. And I feel like they're imagining, what would life look like between you two? I feel like there's a desire to move towards you, but I feel like they're in this, energy of like weighing their options. And so that's why they're kind of hesitating right now, because they're kind of in planning mode, looking at the bigger picture and deciding how and when it would be appropriate to approach you. With the Rejected card, I feel like this was necessary, Aries, for you to kind of like, put these walls up and put space between you and your person that's on your mind. This distance has been necessary because I feel like, as we saw with the Winter card earlier in the spread, this is kind of like forcing them to level up, to, grow into a version of themselves where they can, step up. I feel like this has been a huge wake-up call for them, Aries. It's given them clarity about, how much they actually do want you and how much they don't want to lose you. So this is, this is the clarity that they've been receiving recently. All right, so let's move on and see what is blocking the connection here. What is blocking them? Okay. We have the Nine of Cups, with the Six of Swords, with the Eight of Swords, and we have Secret Work Lover. I have a hidden desire for you. Your intelligence and drive make you irresistible. So with the Nine of Cups, this is, them trying to stay emotionally in control. They're trying to convince themselves that, they're fine. They don't need to reach out. They're good on their own. They don't need anybody, but this is all, a facade. They're trying to maintain emotional control by, just kind of staying silent and just doing whatever it is that they do. This is all very on the surface, but underneath it all, that, none of that is true. Like I said, it's just a facade. We have with Six of Swords energy, this is them trying to, distance themselves emotionally. This is classic avoidance behavior. They're trying to avoid drama. They're trying to avoid, triggering emotions, because with the Eight of Swords energy, this is the core block. Their mind is the prison. And it all stems from fear of rejection, fear of being vulnerable, fear of opening up to you emotionally, fear of not being good enough, and I feel like your person is in this mental paralysis where they overthink everything. They don't go with the flow at all. They just kind of have a huge ego and they're just stuck in their head a lot. I feel like your person wants to communicate, and I feel like they imagine it and think about it a lot, but their anxiety and self-doubt has them locked in this prison in their mind that prevents them from, taking action. For some of you, this could literally be some sort of like secret, like work issue, secret work thing going on. But that's not a message for all of you. For others, if that message doesn't resonate, I feel like this is talking about them having this secret desire for you. I feel like they're keeping their attraction and feelings very much hidden here. Especially because they see you as somebody that's kind of out of their league. Someone that's very intelligent, somebody that, is very driven, someone they see you as somebody that's like a hard worker, someone that's very desirable. Because as we saw with the star energy earlier, they have you up on a pedestal in their mind, The star card is all about like hope, hoping and wishing, and I feel like this is kind of like how they see you as well. You're up on a pedestal in their mind. And I feel like your person is in an energy where they don't really know how to approach you. So their silence is not anything about being disinterested. I feel like it's just them basically just feeling unworthy. All right, so let's go into what are they planning next in this connection? What are they planning next? Oh my gosh, 2 of Cups for what they're planning next. All right, hold on. The Sun card, that's another amazing card. And we have the 10 of Swords. And we have countless suitors attracting attention from all directions, but I'm not focused on them. I only have eyes for you. So Aries, this is beautiful energy with the 2 of Cups energy. They want a reconciliation here. They feel, a mutual bond between you two. They want harmony. They want to have that, hard conversation. They want to be honest. They want to have those heart-to-heart moments. They want to open up and connect with you again. They want to, here with the Sun energy, they crave the clarity and, bringing back the positivity they once had with you. They want to be more honest, and transparent and everything. And, this is major clarity card here with the Sun. This is everything coming out from the dark and into the light, everything being exposed and, brought out and everything. It's beautiful energy. But I feel like here with the 10 of Swords, the Aries, before any of this can happen between you two, they absolutely have to, end a painful cycle first. They have to, end whatever has been like a mentally or emotionally weighing them down. So that means getting rid of limiting beliefs that they have within themselves. They have to learn how to let go of the fear. They have to end all this overthinking and releasing, a painful mindset that they're currently in. And also, they also need to heal from past connections, like the hurt and or betrayal that they have felt and currently dealing with right now from the past. They have to kind of like heal that within themselves, and before they can move forward with you. So there's a lot of healing and fixing themselves right now before they can have this new cycle with you. And so here with the countless suitors, yeah, I feel like your person is very attractive, and they may, obviously here they attract a lot of attention from, potential suitors, but this is saying that, even though they do attract attention, their focus is on you. They don't care about dating around or, exploring other connections. They have laser tunnel vision on you. Okay. So they want to choose you, and they know that you are someone that is the best match for them. And, they just kind of like want to focus on you. That's beautiful energy. All right. So let's go into what is the divine message about this connection? What is the divine message about this connection? We have the Queen of Cups. That's beautiful energy, Aries. Oh, we have the Page of Cups. all about apologies. Oh my gosh, Ten of Wands in reverse. That is amazing. I like seeing the Ten of Wands in reverse. And we have drama, deep emotions and conflicts fueling accusations and assumptions. So Aries, the Queen of Cups is beautiful energy because, this is just confirming that there are real emotions here from both sides. So it's mutual energy. This isn't, something that's superficial. I feel like this is a very deep bond. Here with the Queen of Cups, she's very deep feeling. She's very empathetic. She feels things on a very deep level. So this is, there is genuine care, genuine attachment, and vulnerability under the surface. I feel like there's like a psychic link here, like I mentioned earlier, between you two. I feel like it's a very, deep spiritual connection. There's like a deep bond here. And, the divine message here is that you're not imagining it. There is a very deep emotional bond between you and this person. All right. With the Page of Cups energy, I feel like there is definitely, a soft, honest beginning here. I feel like, the Page of Cups is all about apologies, small expressions of affection, somebody finally opening up and telling you what they feel in their heart, and so I feel like the divine is guiding both of you toward, this emotional honesty with each other, which is beautiful. And I love to see the Ten of Wands in reverse, because upright is all about, burdens and, kind of like oppressive energy. But when it's reversed, it's releasing the burdens, and it's releasing this type of energy. It's a very healing, it's putting that weight down finally. It's, not, overthinking. I feel like with the divine, another divine message here is once you release the burdens and the, resentment and the, conflict that is around this connection, you allow space to kind of like reset the dynamic between you two and let, the energy breathe once again, It's beautiful. With this drama card here, I feel like there has been a lot of emotional intensity that has created a lot of, burdens here and misunderstandings in this connection. I feel like there's been a lot of emotional spirals, like, fear-based stories, defensiveness, emotional spirals, one person projecting things onto the other person, because of the intensity, as we see here with the Queen of Cups. It is a very intense, deep spiritual bond that kind of creates, its own drama in a way, because it's so intense. Both of you are reacting from wounding, maybe from past dynamics, and you're projecting it into this connection, which is not the truth. So the divine is saying the drama is coming from, unspoken feelings, not lack of feelings. So it looks like distance, mixed signals, or, silence. It's actually two people that are just, overwhelmed by emotions to the point where it creates like a lot of drama and miscommunication. All right. So let's go into what the likely outcome is between you two. What is the likely outcome? We have the Five of Wands. We have the Queen of Cups again. We have the Page of Pentacles. Ooh, and we have a mature man. And take it however it resonates. If you're, it could be just mature person, depending on, who you're attracted to or whatever. So it doesn't have to be like male, female. It's just person, mature person. All right. So the likely outcome here, we have the Five of Wands. So this is clashing energy again, conflict, frustration. And I feel like it's mirroring energy here, like both of you wanting to reach out, but you're both holding back. It's ego versus like vulnerability. It's like this, it's misunderstandings that need clearing. Okay, and with the Queen of Cups energy, this is, talking about the emotional depth is what actually wins the day here. It's intuitive understanding, it's returning to an emotional softness, if you will. Like there's empathy building between you two. And I feel like there is here with the Queen of Cups, she's very forgiving and she's very emotionally open. And I feel like that's what's going to override the earlier conflict here with the Five of Wands energy. I feel like there's going to be a softening. There's going to be a healing energy brought back into this connection. We also have the Page of Pentacles. So I feel like this is a very small, solid offering that's going to be given to you here. It's going to be a message, a practical like gesture. I feel like it's going to be a tangible step towards, rebuilding this connection. Okay. Because we have mature man here. This could be an earth sign that you're dealing with, but doesn't have to be. But basically what the underlying message here is there's going to be some sort of an apology, some sort of text, some sort of tiny window opening here that's going to bring about, some sort of healing here. I feel like it's going to be like a slow rebuilding process that leads to, a more emotionally honest connection, and I feel like that's beautiful. I feel like this is going to be like strong reconciliation energy. I feel like there's going to be a strong reset for this dynamic. All right, so that is what I have for you, Aries. Hopefully it resonated. If it did, feel free to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.